welcome back to the 4 Forward Podcast. And now
Hell yeah.
today we have my boy Spixie,
Yo,
and my boy Tritium. What is good, my boys?
not much, not much.
Alright,
So,
that's cool. That's cool.
how's your
So,
day, bro?
it's doing. It's doing.
Today's been a boring ass day, I must say.
You must say, indeed.
I graduated 2 days ago, and now I have nothing to do with my life. So
Bro, congratulations, bro.
thank you.
And now,
You
so
graduated from clown school, bro.
Yeah,
Clown
pretty much,
school.
bro. So I got the red nose. I got these big ass shoes.
So you got the clown license?
yo,
Certified,
did you drop them?
of course.
So, how do you guys feel? Okay, so basically everyone was arguing about this, like the last podcast, And so, how do you guys feel about? Okay, Spixie, I want your honest opinion. Me and Tritium already covered this topic already.
Alrighty.
How do you feel about pineapple on pizza?
I think that pineapple on pizza is a beautiful creation, and if you think otherwise, it's because you have weak ass taste buds that cannot comprehend the sweet and savory taste of pineapple on a nice salty, well, not too salty, but nice salt and tang pizza. All right, it's fucking incredible. And if you think otherwise, then honestly, you need to season your chicken better.
I mean, what happens if you don't like it in general?
If you don't like it, then I mean, hey, each to their own. All right, but if you are going to sit here and say that pineapple does not belong on pizza, then honestly, I think that you are basically Hitler.
But that makes sense. But indeed, it
Yeah,
does.
that actually makes perfectly good
Look,
sense that you're Hitler if you dislike pineapple.
Yeah, I mean, the flavors really, they just counter each other so perfectly that they complement each other. Because, like I said, you have the nice tang that comes from the pineapple. Then you have that sweet, savory flavor that comes off the pizza with the tomato sauce and the cheese. Once the two of them combine, it's like a parade happening in your mouth. It's like an orgy of flavor, and it's incredible, I must say.
Dude, I love orgies from my mouth.
Me too.
Okay, so I think our first topic is going to be happened a couple weeks ago now, but the banning of Epic Man Gathan.
Indeed,
So-
indeed.
Basically, what happened is he was banned for basically overreacting. Like every single message sent, he would react with a pig emoji, and I think the mods just had enough of his shit and banned him.
I mean, honestly, it's about time. When I was mod, I wanted to ban him because he was just obnoxious to deal with. He would always just ping people overly and then spam random shit. And honestly, it was just annoying dealing with him. I never liked the guy. So,
The,
I mean,
the only thing is though, because if like he was pretty cool and all, like with the OT, like he was pretty fun, but
Yeah, overall, he
I
was
wouldn't
all-
think
he was
I
fine.
wouldn't think that he would tag over and over, because I don't think that ever happened. That I
Really? I
know
mean,
of.
he did it to me at least like once, I know.
I mean, he was funny, but he was just overly obnoxious, and
Yeah,
I think he
he's
just
that
took things over the line where they weren't
Yeah.
necessarily.
He's that one
fun
person in
anymore.
school that like tries too hard to be funny and isn't really funny, but he just pushes the boundaries of what's okay, and then people just say, "Oh, ha ha ha, he's breaking rules. He's funny now."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
like
think that's really just what happened, and I think that it's about time that he got banned. Honestly,
he's the kid to see someone pull a prank on the teacher, and then he does it to the principal. Because
It does make sense, indeed.
that's my analogy.
you guys want to hear what my senior prank was to my school?
Yeah.
We put 3 goats in our principal's office.
Goats.
Goats.
Okay,
Goat.
so where did you have
That's
goats
right.
at your
You
dispense?
sneezed during this.
So pretty much, this started freshman year, right? Where a friend of mine, he had the idea to put 3 pigs in the school, let them run loose, label them 1, 2, and 4, so everyone would look for the third.
Oh
obviously.
yeah.
But, so then he was dating this girl, and her father happened to be one of the school counselors who happened to own a farm. So they got goats instead because they owned goats. And so this led down the entire path of us deciding to take these 3 goats and put them in the principal's office. The thing we didn't account for though was that goats shit and piss a lot,
Mm.
and they eat
What?
shit
When,
everywhere.
when they're scared, they shit and cum and piss. And poop
Yeah,
and
they
fart.
shit and farted all over the carpet pretty much. So when we put him in the principal's office, they just started shitting and pissing everywhere, and his office was just covered in shit, and it was absolutely hilarious.
And then you got fucking expelled. Yeah.
Actually, no, he walked in while we were trying to clean it all up, and we have it on video, and he just was like, "This is awesome. I think he was just happy that there was finally a decent senior prank because all the other ones have been really lackluster. I think
What were the other ones?
last year they just like ran around the school playing manhunt,
That's so funny. Ha ha.
and then like
Not
the,
funny.
and
Didn't laugh.
like the year before, I don't think there was one, and the year before that, I think like a bunch of kids just kind of shrieked at the last like softball game or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
So, I think that they were just glad that we did something that was actually that actually took time. We had to get there. We got there like 2 hours before school started, so we can get everything set up. And then before that, and also we went around to all of the senior teachers and saran wrapped their rooms, which was pretty
Mhm.
fun. It was overall everything was pretty great. The funniest part was one of the senior teachers had a substitute that day, so the substitute came in and was just really confused as to what was going on.
Okay, so now for our second topic of the day. What are your opinions on the fucking retarded boomers?
Honestly, I got to that point where I just grow impatient with boomers. Like they get mad at us for not knowing things that they never taught us. Then
Like,
it's like,
I mean,
what?
wait. So what I would say, I mean, they don't catch up with like our terms of like freaking memes, you know. But I mean, like, so if if one grandparent knows, then they're a legend, you know.
like if they're a Keck grandma.
My
Yeah.
issue with a lot of boomers right now is that there's one thing that got me really annoyed, which was in Minnesota, and this is happening in some other states, I believe. But in Minnesota right now, boomers can go to college and they pay $10 per credit, which means like
Is that it?
that's a pretty large deal considering sometimes you have to pay upwards of $1,500 for 3 credit classes for 3 credit hours. So it's like a boomer can go to college for substantially less than a millennial or a Gen Zer. Like I have to pay roughly, I have to pay a pretty decent amount to go to college just so I can at least have a livelihood in the future and a career. Whereas boomers who are most likely retiring only have to pay what $600 approximately to get an associate's. Like that's a little fucked. I'm sorry. You shouldn't be getting education for a future that you aren't going to be a part of, especially for substantially less than what someone who actually needs that position for.
Yeah.
And that factors into the politics side. I mean, when boomers make a vote for on the election or for any changes, they're making a vote which will affect the future that most people who are younger than them will be living.
Yeah, and they're not going to be part of that
Yeah,
future. I
yeah,
saw this
because
stupid article about, should we be electing more millennials into the House? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're running out of boomers to elect, considering they're all dying by now. Come on, like we're going to run out of boomers eventually.
I mean, you could get Brexit as an example. I mean, you could say that what 80% of boomers voted yes for Brexit,
Yeah.
whilst younger people voted no.
Hmm.
Even I think Brexit was not the worst move. Like, while I think it was at the time it seemed dumb, I think that overall it could help the economy for England.
I think another topic that would definitely work with this boomer talk is definitely gun control in the United States, because you see almost no like action being taken against all of these. Like you hear them talking about it, but there's been barely any actual
Well, if you do realize that Benny does not live in the United States, so he can,
well,
care less.
I'm pretty sure
Oh,
you do too, and you
so-
have an opinion.
We can still talk about gun control. I think that's a very valid topic.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys think about it, if you know, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but Hillary tried applying for president like back then, and like just because Trump won, because it makes more sense than Hillary taking away our gun rights, you know.
I don't. Okay, and one thing that gets me annoyed when people talk about gun control is they say that um, people want to take away their guns, which isn't the case. In most cases of gun control, I'm going to pose this question: do you think that someone who has a criminal record and is mentally ill should be able to own a gun?
Definitely not.
Definitely
Exactly.
not.
And if you think no, then guess what? You believe in gun control. That's just a form of gun control that people want to be instated. We want harsher. We don't want to ban guns. At least I don't. I don't. I think guns are really cool overall, and I do plan to be a gun owner. But I think that we need to have more strict regulation on guns to make sure that people who shouldn't be owning guns have guns. This is how we prevent more crises. Now,
Yeah.
I think a lot of different because I've talked to a lot of politicians about this in my area, and like gun control is a big thing in a lot of states because if you look at the map, there's a lot of crime that happens in urban areas based around guns. There's a lot of gun violence, but if you go towards like the Midwest and like Wyoming and stuff like that, the gun violence is substantially less. Given population wise, there's also a more dense population in urban areas, so the map it's kind of proportional, but that's a whole other thing for another time. So
Yeah.
I
I mean,
also
gun control is not like direct confiscation. It's just licensing and
Yeah.
restricting, not direct confiscation, not like taking the guns away.
I think to go back to the actual laws, like harsher, strict gun control laws that should be implemented, I definitely think that there should be a ban on assault rifles.
there already is.
'Cause-
See, ARs are not assault rifles. An AR-15 is an Armalite rifle, and that's a big thing. Like, there has to be a better classification of what makes guns guns, because in order to make effective laws about what guns should be regulated, they need to be
Yeah.
classified correctly. Because right now, a semi-automatic pistol and a semi-automatic rifle are classified within the same as the same type of weapon, which isn't the case. One is just because they're both semi-automatic, but a semi-automatic pistol is substantially different from a semi-automatic rifle. So, what I've always proposed is that since the NRA has a lot to say about this, we'll let the NRA classify the guns. Let them decide what makes a gun, what makes a rifle, what makes a pistol, and then make gun laws surrounding those classifications. That way, it's easier to regulate, and it just makes more sense.
Mhm.
Indeed.
I mean,
Indeed, it does.
the Las Vegas shooting involved a semi-automatic rifle, and
Yeah,
I don't think that's banned.
it's not.
Right.
No,
It's
semi-automatic
not, right.
rifles aren't banned.
I definitely think that guns, you don't need a gun that does any more than simply protecting yourself.
Yeah,
Like
I don't think I
You
don't
can
see
have-
any automatic rifles, which they're banned. Semi-automatic rifles. That's why people want to ban like bump stocks, because you can. I'm not sure if it's bump stocks or if it's another thing, but it's a modification that you can use on a semi-automatic rifle to make it act like an automatic rifle.
Indeed.
And I don't see a reason to have those. Like hunting is like people talk about hunting rifles, and I think hunting is a sport. You get one shot, you miss, then oh well, you move on to the next, and then so you don't need like a semi-automatic rifle of any kind to be hunting with.
Mhm.
I mean, gun control could also help prevent suicide, since I think there's
Yeah.
more suicide-related deaths.
But
With-
mind you that gun control doesn't mean taking away all guns, and you can use pretty much any gun to take your life.
Yeah,
I mean, but it would
But if you oh, sorry, continue.
it would restrict like more people buying guns to actually end their life.
Yeah,
True,
like you
yeah.
said, like if there's like an actual mental health analysis or psychoanalysis being undergone
Mhm.
while in the process of buying a gun, then someone could say, hey, this person is depressed and suicidal. They don't need a gun. They need help.
Yeah,
Another huge mental health crisis in this country that I don't think is being addressed properly.
I mean, I would say, okay, what do you guys think about the? Okay, so would you guys agree with this or not? Would you guys agree with having automatics like illegal, like not illegal, like legal, like with a permit?
No,
No, they definitely
sounds-
should not be allowed at all.
there's no need. There's no
I mean,
need for it.
Okay, reason then why? Okay, so why were they made if they know it's gonna be illegal?
They were made. They didn't know they would be illegal. They were made in the middle of like wartime SCCs, where like you would use them for war and for military purposes. I don't think a
Yeah.
civilian needs to own an automatic weapon of any kind. Regardless,
I mean,
I think
those
that
type
we
of-
don't even need war, but that's a whole other thing too.
And also another thing is that these gun laws that we have right now, they were implemented a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and guns have changed a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Second Amendment was created for because we were fearing one invasion from a tyrannical government and to prepare for a tyrannical government. Now we have checks and balances to avoid having a tyrannical government, but like I think the things need to be updated. Like I said, we need classification of guns. We need to update the Second Amendment to actually account for what we have now, because a musket is very different from an AR-15,
Yeah, wasn't it written like 200 years ago?
roughly.
Okay, so we kind of touched this in our gun control discussion, and I think that now we're going to move on to mental health, especially in the United States, because that's where most of the school shootings are happening, and I think a lot of these school shootings are happening because of distress and just the horrible mental states of children.
Yeah, and plus with like I think was it last year that there was the Florida shooting. If you didn't read.
Last year there were roughly 296 mass shootings that occurred. Only about 12 of them got reported. But yeah,
Yeah, but I mean like what is that to prove, to be honest? And plus with like I think like a couple months ago there was the church the
yeah,
synagogue shooting.
there's a synagogue shooting, and then after that there was another shooting in Colorado, I believe, killed like 5 people.
I didn't hear about that.
Mm.
And plus, I know last year, I mean this year, there was you guys know, I forgot what was the word. It was down in like I think was it Paris or something like that. I forgot. It was like the one of the huge building, like some church
Oh,
collapsed.
the Church of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Those are
um,
them.
I think that it got a fitting end because while I love history and I think that we need to preserve as much of it as possible. It was an empty building that honestly was way more expensive than it needed to be. And considering how much more history has been burned throughout time, how many people have lost their history because of burning buildings and burning churches, I think it was a fitting end. Because, and it really got me annoyed that there were people donating so much money to it.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, there's a point though, because they wanted to preserve their like country's history.
I get that, but at the same time, $700 million raised within 24 hours, and that was after roughly what 5 donors? 5 donors did the majority of that. That is ridiculous, considering we have to worry about climate change. Like you could donate your money towards so many more effective causes, and yet you donate it to a burning building that has really no meaning anymore.
yeah. But I mean, it like to be honest, it was a good building. Not gonna lie. Like I know
Oh no,
it was even in like some games like Assassin's Creed.
no, okay, so like I'm a huge history junkie, and I love like preserving history, but I think that it gets a fitting end at some point. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't serving any purpose in terms of history anymore. You still know everything about it. You can still talk about what purposes it served, and I love the architecture of it. I love everything that it stood for, aside from the entire Christianity thing. But at the same time, it's like it is what it is. Just let it go.
yeah, indeed, it does. But I
I
mean,
mean, the whole thing didn't burn to the ground completely. It was only a part of it that burned.
Yeah,
So
only
I
part
think
of it.
if you took it down, that would just kind of be pointless. So I think repairing it is kind of the best thing to do in that situation. But I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think repairing it isn't like the worst thing, given it was also undergoing so many more renovations and stuff like that. I don't. It's not necessary. It really isn't. And then what gets me even more upset is like that got so much news coverage and that got so many donations and so many people talked about it, and yet what's going on in Sudan right now, just like no news coverage about it. It's like it's just it shows where people's intentions lie. It annoys me.
yeah, I totally get what you mean by there. And
I mean, it is like a symbol for the French people, but I get like, how could you donate that much to
But I think
this,
that
not to other
if I had the choice to cover a burning building or a mass genocide war, I think I would definitely choose a genocide to cover.
And like I see that again, like I hear a lot of things saying, "Oh, rich people could fix the planet if they wanted to," and I don't think that's their responsibility by any means. I don't think that's responsibility of
No,
individuals to
it's
say, "Hey,
definitely not.
it's not." But I think it's also like it's an issue of morality, and while it's not your obligation to save the world. I think that you should look at the world and be like, "Hey, I have the ability to do something greater than myself. I have the ability to literally change the course of history. Why am I not helping?" And at least that's where my moral philosophy lies. But I'm interested to hear your take on that.
um,
I mean, it's. I definitely agree with that. I do think that not everybody in the world has necessary as much of an opportunity as others, but definitely a lot of people just what is it? What do you say? Like they don't take the chances they get.
Yeah, I don't know. What I was really saying, it's more along the lines of if you see if you see a situation going on and you know you have the ability to help and make it better, like why aren't you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I gave totally what you mean by there.
I mean, well, however, some people did blame the Vatican,
Oh
even though the
yeah.
Vatican doesn't even own it,
Mhm.
which is pretty stupid. And that was actually talked about in news articles.
It probably was. There was a lot of coverage about
Sure.
the cathedral.
And now they're saying there's a chance it was either an electrical like malfunction or like a cigarette. I really hope it's an electrical malfunction and not a cigarette. Because if it's a cigarette, that's just pathetic.
If it's a cigarette, that's laughable. That's just sad.
Yeah.
It's really like a
Stupid.
disappointing way to go out.
I mean, like,
I
I'm
mean, at
still
least
wondering how it basically just lit on fire. You know, it's like it could be anything. It could be some dude just light up a firecracker. You know, like just sliding through and shoving like
Yeah, I
fireworks
don't
out of his
really think
butthole.
that anyone's gonna be lighting fireworks on top of Notre Dame, but
I don't know. If I had the opportunity
that's
to light
just my
fireworks at on like the Notre Dame Cathedral, I think I would do it. Not like
I would too, to be honest. Not gonna lie. I
if I could
I can just
just lay
imagine.
back on the roof
Yeah.
and then just like send off some fireworks. That sounds
Like
like a relaxing evening.
I can
Just listen to
imagine. I can imagine Steve just sliding through just with fireworks, like shoving like in his butthole, lighting it up on fire, with just firecrackers coming out of his mouth.
it's like the Kung Fu Panda scene where he's like, "I love Kung Fu."
Yeah,
oh my
that
god.
that's like the top stuff you would like to see. But
okay, I think we can make that happen.
yeah.
I think that's where our money should be going to.
All right, guys. Now we were gonna go way back, like I feel like last month. I think there was the Apple conference, and so okay, guys,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure you guys all remember that, but
I remember it.
it,
Long
it,
time
it was
ago.
devastating
Yeah.
to see the Pro stand becoming $1,000 just for like a stand.
Bro,
I mean-
I swear that thing was made for 10 cents by some random Chinese guy that's like starving.
It's like we're gonna do
The fact that you could literally buy a computer monitor for less is just so sad.
Right? I could literally build a computer, get a monitor. I can do an entire setup for $1,000. That would be 10 times more effective than an iPad Pro with the stand.
yeah.
iPad Pro.
Like, what is the point of buying a $10,000 stand? Like, it's magnetic and it's from Apple. I don't understand.
It's $1,000. But like,
In their defense, it's there's no other stand that can do that for like professional
no.
user.
it's definitely innovative. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time,
Yeah.
$1,000.
You're right, you're right.
Is it worth the
Look,
price
it's not
at all?
really.
It's really not.
It's not innovation if it's not accessible to the public. And
It isn't
that's
to the public though. It is to the professionals.
regardless. It's still not innovation though, because if it's fine, let me rephrase. It's not innovation if it's not easily accessible. In general, like that's $1,000 for a stand. I get it. The technology behind it is incredibly innovative, but at what cost though? Because that's like saying a fusion engine is extremely innovative. Sure, you've created the technology and that's a really cool thing, but how can you apply that to real world? Like if you can't apply it, then what's the point of it?
Yeah. I mean,
Especially if there's something that can do it in a much more cost-effective manner.
I mean, so far, at least, like the computer, like the cheese grater, that was actually pretty good. Like honestly, I would buy that. That's a good,
Yeah.
good computer.
So yeah. Also,
I mean-
a huge issue with how Apple works because like. A friend of mine was talking about this recently, talking about how the new iPad has facial recognition. He's like, "Wow, that's really cool." And I said, "Yeah, it's been a thing for a while on every other device."
Yeah. I mean, it's just classic Apple. They just release the same stuff again. They change it up a little bit, and then they just slap $1,000 price on.
Pretty much.
I mean,
It's obnoxious.
Yeah, it's
to
just
be honest, I used the iPad Pro and it's actually really good, but the price is well questionable.
yeah.
The iPad Pro it's good if you're in that field. And this is what I always say about like Apple products. I've used an iMac before for video editing and for rendering stuff. It's great. It's actually like the technology in that it's really fascinating because the way that they do their cooling, it's really great. But again, for the price and for the performance you get out of the price, you can do so much more with that same money if you just build a PC. And so that's where my biggest issue and my biggest gripe with Apple comes. It's like it's really good and it looks really cool, but it's not cost effective.
No, on the point of people saying that you could build a better PC for how much the iMac Pro costs, I think that is not a valid argument since the Mac Pro is specifically made for professionals for professional use, whilst most people who are saying that hey we can build a better PC for much a lower price, right? That's more optimized for like gaming uses.
And no, because you can build a PC with different specifications to it. Like if I
Yeah.
wanted to build a gaming PC, I would go for like a really good, like a gaming based video card, like a 1080. Let's go with something most people would understand, like a 1080
Yeah.
with like an i7 processor, right? But if I wanted to go for something that's more based around rendering large amounts of video and processing things like that, then I would probably go with like an overclocked i7 as well as maybe more of like a
A lot of RAM.
60, like a lot of RAM. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
precisely what I was trying to go for. Like you need different requirements for different things, and you get better performance out of it. I know a lot of people who do professional work with Final Cut Pro. A lot of other people do professional work with Adobe Premiere. I think that it's depending on your workflow, but like I said, like when it comes to cost effectivity, you can do a lot more with putting in the time and the effort to build a PC than you need when you get an iMac.
Right. Yeah.
At least that's where I'm coming from. Having done professional work in the film industry, doing like wedding videos and real estate videos, it's my workflow. I work better using Adobe Premiere Pro because I worked with it more. Like the landscape for me, it just feels comfy because I know what I'm doing. My PC runs pretty well with it, so it all just works out. But I see why people go for the Macs just because they're really good at what they do. I'll give them that much, as well as they just feel comfy to use, and they just feel like they add another level to your professionalism, which I can understand. But yeah, also,
No, I don't really know. I don't know shit about computers.
Let me know if I'm talking too much, by the way. But yeah,
No, it's good if you're talking a lot because it's kind of a podcast, and
well,
I'm
yeah.
not really good at making up topics, and retarded Avicii's muted like a clown.
I feel like that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I guess this will be the end of the podcast of episode 2. Benny, Spixie, it's been an honor, bro. They will come back. Just smash that like button, subscribe. I guess I know you guys been viewing this.
I
not
definitely
subscribing.
think in
Just
future
take the
podcasts.
like button and literally take the like button, hold it for ransom, and if it doesn't get hit, then you have to fucking kill it.
Yeah,
I
but
definitely
guys,
think
Also,
yeah.
also if you're listening to this podcast and not in the 404 server,
Right.
do join.
If you guys are watching this right now,
Don't join. It's a shit show. But it's
No,
hilarious.
Okay, so we will definitely in future podcasts we'll rotate through guests. So like today we had Spixie and Benny. Next podcast, you have some different people,
Yeah.
or maybe they could come back.
well, we just had to see what's on our thing.
Mhm.
But this was like a long awaited video. I'm sorry guys, but it just do be like
And
that.
Before we end, definitely hit us up with suggestions of what you want us to talk about.
Make sure to drop us a freaking like and a thumbs up and a subscribe and comment down.
And hit
some
that
cancel
bell button
content.
for notifications
Yes,
for when this
bell button.
Yeah,
Spixie, we will definitely have you come back.
Also-
Benny, same as you. I guess this is where we end the video. But
we'll first buy our merch.
yes,
It's not out yet, but we're gonna have
Yes.
it. In,
yes. If
We have
we if I'm really
spreadshirt.
dedicated, I'll see Philoxy, or I can just drop some merch for the 404 podcast.
I would totally rock a 404 sweatshirt.
Yes,
all I'm
dude,
saying.
not gonna lie, dude, I would do it. To be honest, like I would create a
Let's have a Kickstarter.
yeah, I'll have a
This
Kickstarter.
is the next contest. This is the next contest. We have people design our merch.
Yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
yeah.
So probably do some merch. We'll all talk about it to Philoxy, and maybe I can do some designing because my designs are freaking cool. But
Nah, man,
guys,
let's just have a contest for people.
I guess this is where we end the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Alright.
Thank you
Subscribe to
for
Benefit.
watching and or listening.
Peace.
Yeah.
Subscribe to PewDiePie.
See ya.